Okay, no countdown. So I'm going to assume this is rolling. This is day 2 of my terrible practice videos. Um, so if you missed yesterday, which chances are good you did, I am teaching myself how to record and use the software and the lighting and the microphone and the bells and whistles and all the things that I have been avoiding pretty successfully over the last few years. So I am I forgot to introduce myself yesterday. So my name's Alyssa Nova. I'm a multi-percussionist, and one of my specialties is classical Arabic percussion. And I am a performer and teacher, and I have taught people for years. I've played drums for years, but once lockdown happened and the whole digital revolution started happening and people started getting more curious and more open to learning online, I started down the rabbit hole of the whole online entrepreneurial world that I hadn't paid a whole lot of attention to before. Um, and there was a variety of things that happened in my life all at the same time, just like is happening for everybody. I quit my job of 20 years. We were in lockdown, obviously. I moved to a different state, so my network changed. All my people were in Arizona. Now I'm in Colorado, and I still had students in Arizona, and they started studying with me online in end of 2021, beginning of 2022, somewhere in that area. And and I got recruited for an online belly dance studio where I teach rhythms to dancers. So, I've continued teaching and recently resumed teaching in person workshops here and in Arizona. But I really would like to make my lessons, my teachings more available to more people who don't have access to me in person, or as I've encountered since I teach mostly adults, almost entirely adults, we all have busy lives. So even if I have local people who are interested and willing, it's hard to get everybody on the same schedule. So for that and many other reasons, I've been wanting to get better at the more digital format and better in terms for what works for me as far as a system of, how does all this stuff work? Right now you can't see it in the picture, but I figured out I've gotten as far as getting a light box and light sources. And since I've been doing this for a few years, a couple people near and dear to me have kind of bought me little bits of equipment over time. And being the master procrastinator that I am, most of that stuff has stayed in boxes because then I would have to learn how to use it. So that's what I'm doing now. These terrible practice videos are two parts. One part is for me to practice putting all this stuff together and making it work and making it look good. And the other part is the subject matter is I'll be practicing drum while I do it. Not so much teaching lessons like I would if you hired me, but but just showing you my practice routine. So this is an exercise for me to record and eventually, ideally, learn how to do some video software editing type of things. So in the meantime, you, dear listener watcher, are hopefully my willing guinea pigs for this endeavor. And I know, of the minuscule number of people who are subscribed to my account. You're mostly friends and family and students, and I appreciate that very, very much. So an update. Yesterday was day 1. This is day 2. I had quite a few technical snafus before I finally made it to the recordings that I posted yesterday. And I posted 2 because inexplicably one of them just quit at 11 and a half minutes while I was still yammering and was actually practicing. And So I had to start part two because I didn't want to leave you hanging. So hopefully that won't happen today. So the update after that, I was able to successfully find the videos on my computer, which, you know, for me can every step of these things can be hard for me. I keep bumping. There's a microphone right above my head, and I keep bumping it. I can't tell if that's it in the picture. That's it. Sure is. That's a big no-no right there. For my friends in the film industry, I'd be fired already. So yeah, so I was able to find the recordings on my computer, put them in a better file, and actually make it as far as loading them into YouTube, writing the titles, and posting them and putting them live. So all of that worked. I expected nobody to see them because I didn't tell anybody I was doing this. And I'm okay with that because these are, you know, at the beginning, they're going to be pretty bad. I'm hoping over time they get better, but they're, you know, staying up for posterity at this point in time. But yesterday I got notified. I think when I checked last night, between the two videos, there had been 4 views. So even if I say 2 of those are the same person, 4 views, and I got 1 subscriber, who I'm very happy about, and 1 comment. So I consider that a win since I told nobody I was doing this, and I have a very teeny tiny following. I'm still baffled at the 66, now 67 subscribers that I have on this channel because it's not something that I've really known what to do with or had to put, you know, I've loaded some really good performances from a long time ago, and some of them have been sitting there since 2009, just collecting views over time. So I'm guessing that's where, you know, the subscribers came from. But anyway, so that is my quick recap. So you can see I'm very gestury. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I don't think it's going to change. So yeah, my quick recap. I won't go into the tedious minutia of all the things that failed. I mean, I guess I could make that part of this. I don't know if people are watching because they actually want to see me play this or they want to hear the updates. But if you have opinions about that, feel free to let me know, because otherwise I'm going to do what I want until somebody says, you know, gives me a little direction there. But yeah, so I had tried using, I have a built-in searchy recorder, screen recorder thing, which is, you know, I think is pretty cool. But I tried that about 1,000,000 times yesterday, and something failed every single time. It wouldn't see the better external camera that I have hooked up. It would only go to my laptop camera, which is not great. And then the one time I got the camera to work, it didn't recognize the microphone, and it just kept going back and forth, and things kept getting weird. And then the frustration and the cussing and the wanting to throw my laptop through a wall began, and I had to talk myself down off that ledge. And you know, I have since I have I have ADHD. If you can't tell from this conversation, I can be a little scattered. I have to tether my thoughts to make something linear come out. But along with that comes a low tolerance for frustration. So I can have the best of intentions, but if I sit down and nothing works and it continues to not work, I start to get like anxiety here. I'll get really upset. I'll get kind of like, you know, like little kid that dropped their ice cream cone, you know, like that level of upset, like just like the world is ending. So I had to talk myself down off of that. But the beauty thing is that I finished it because I made a pledge that I'm going to try to do this every day, unless I'm out of town and completely incapable. So yeah, that's what happened. So after that, I ended up figuring out that I had another screen recorder on my computer, which was just the basic Windows camera app, which is what I'm using right now. So it is extremely bare bones, which means it's easy to start, but also it arbitrarily just picks a folder where it sends the recordings. And so I couldn't find any way to change it. It wouldn't let me export them or download them. So basically, it just sends it straight to my camera roll where I have to sift through years worth of pictures to find it and move it to a better folder. So this setup is not ideal. It's going to change. Same for this little thing right here. It's in the shot, but the since this is brand new and I opened it yesterday, the mic arm stand is really stiff, so I can't just fix it. So I'm just going to try to pretend it's not here. Okay, so practice. Like I said yesterday, my default lately has been Ayub. It's just if I sit down, pick up the drum, and want to warm up my hands, it turns into Ayub. So, and I go through phases. And I didn't play at all before I started the camera today, so this is a warm-up from cold. And as usual, I forgot to stretch, so that didn't happen. And I also didn't do a sound check, so hopefully all this is working. We'll find out when I'm done. A little bit of timing there. And then I might decide to ramp it up. A little bit of Karachi. It's a fun transition. Shouldn't be staring in the camera, I guess. Staring at myself playing back. This is mirror me right there. And I'm noticing, I think when I do zoom, it actually shows me reflected so that I'm right-handed. And I think this one is showing me so it looks like I'm left-handed. It's actually, I think it's a mirrored image. So I'm seeing myself mirrored really nicely. I'm looking in a mirror, but I think on the replay it's going to look like I'm a southpaw. So one of the advantages of practicing in front of a camera is it's making me practice talking and playing at the same time, which honestly I don't do when I'm just practicing by myself. I'm going to lower that. I don't know if the sound is interfering with the volume. So yeah, one thing, if you get into practicing regularly, you'll notice that your body is a little different every day. You know, like today, I feel a lot warmer, a lot more comfortable just sitting and playing cold, you know, like without warming up first. Yesterday, I think, you know, temperature-wise, it's about the same as it is today, but I think all the stress from my little meltdown with the cameras and nothing working, like that takes a toll on your body. So if you are driving to a gig and you're really stressed out, you know, like I tend to run late. I'm completely time blind, so a lot of times I'll be running later than I'd like, and then, you know, if there's traffic or diversions or whatever, construction, if I show up somewhere really stressed out, then that definitely affects my playing. Like, then I really do need to warm up, or it's not good to go straight into a show like that. So today, it's a good example of that. I'm pretty stress-free today, and my hands feel good. So just something to know. I didn't know of that concept about our bodies being a little different every day until I took yoga. before yoga, I had taken other exercise classes that were a lot more competitive and a lot more geared toward performance instead of relaxing into your body positions. And so that concept was really new to me in yoga, that, just because you could do it yesterday doesn't mean you might be able to do it today, because performance doesn't always happen in a straight line. It's usually, a curve that, let's try this way. Usually, if you measure performance, you'll have plateaus, you'll have dips, you'll have, huge gains, but it's not a perfect straight line towards success. So even if you measure your weight every day over a period of time, it's going to do this because your body's different every day. The conditions are different, how much you slept are different, your water intake, how your muscles are feeling. If you have chronic illness, your body's going to fluctuate. So when you sit down to warm up, you'll notice some days you play better than others. And I want to encourage you, a lot of times I'll see my students kind of go into negative self-talk when that happens. Like they're frustrated with themselves. Like, I don't know what the problem is. I can normally play this and today I can't play it. And, if you can replace that script just with the idea that your body's different every day and this is what it's like today, so if you're just playing around, if it's low stakes and, you don't have to perform at a certain level that day, then go easy on yourself, like even if you do have to perform later that day, like your body's different every day. So as far as, if you're looking really at performance and you're concerned about having speed and stamina to get through a show, my recommendation is to practice past the point that you need to play at the show. So whatever the top speed that you need for the show, be able to play the material quicker than that. Like get yourself up to the level where you never want to be maxed out in performance music. You never want to be maxed out in your overall volume. There's almost never a time that you play, I could physically hit really hard and get really loud, but I don't hang out there. And when you push yourself to the upper limit of your stamina and your volume and your strength and your speed, it doesn't sound good and it doesn't feel good, and it's really unsustainable. So then you get into a situation called overplaying. In music, if you're overplaying, then you're playing to the point where your technique suffers, like you're playing way out here, your hand, everything goes out the window. And that's true of any type of instrument you can overplay. So one instrument might be blowing so hard that they're like straining their larynx and they're, busting something up here, and drum line, sticks too high all over the place, everything hurts. So, so if you're trying to build up to a certain speed and stamina for show music, then my recommendation is to practice as far in advance as you can. I know that's not always possible, but, start practicing as far in advance as you can, as consistently as your life can manage, and try to push yourself, have an idea of how fast your fastest songs go. And then, get a metronome and practice yourself up to the point where you can play faster than that song needs to go and be comfortable there, even if it's just a hair. But if you can get it 2 hairs faster, if you've got a melody player or somebody else in the band that starts that tune and they get all pumped up on adrenaline and they start it too fast, you'll be able to roll with it. So, that's how I handle that. But as far as we're just practicing today, or you're in a lesson with somebody and things just aren't working the way you're capable of, then just try to go easy on yourself and be, normally I can play this, but I must be a little stressed today. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep. Maybe I need more water. My body's different every day. It will come back. So it always comes back. So, just, picture that bar graph, if you have a Fitbit or if you've got a scale that weighs you and just kind of shows you that graph all the time, or, the Dow, whatever charts you look at regularly, just, remind yourself that your skill level varies day to day a little bit like that. What we really want is forward progress when we practice. So, after an initial warm-up, I'll usually go into maybe a double ka or practicing different techniques. Some sloppy pops there. So I definitely mess up when I'm practicing, mess up when I'm performing. That happens. That is a part of life. The main thing you want to practice is recovery, not whether you make the mistake, but how well you recover. And honestly, a lot of times people don't even know. So unless you broadcast it, if you make an upset face like, or laugh, or... the worst thing you can do is just stop, stop in your tracks. Like, I screwed up. Because a lot of times people don't know, like you're playing so many notes, so many beats, so much is happening. A lot of times they don't know what's on purpose and what's not. So if you screw up, keep going, try to make it look like it was on purpose. And since these are terrible practice videos, like I'm not editing out anything, partly because I don't know how yet. I don't have software that can do it yet. But also I want it to be accurate, just professionals make mistakes too. So it's not common, like once you get up to pro level and you have teachers and, your teacher wants to make a good impression. A lot of times they're not going to come out and remind you that they're human and they screw up or they forget things or they can't think of another phrase to play during a solo. But like that's the best way to learn is to see how the pros mess up and how they handle it. Now I'm practicing finger rolls, see if they're in my hands today, and they are. Some days they're not going to be there yet. So you may notice that I'm not actually playing a lot of rhythms while I'm practicing. Partly because I know a bunch of them. I know a bunch already, so it's not so much that I need to practice rhythms. It's technique, stamina, speed, fluidity, nuance, that kind of stuff. Some days there will be certain techniques that I want to work on when I'm practicing. Stuff I've noticed sounds a little sloppy or has kind of lost its form, or sometimes they're new things. Or, I try to study with as many teachers as I can, basically, as I have access to. So as they come up, as opportunities come up, I try to study with them all. So they all have different techniques that they prefer, different little tricks for solos, that kind of thing. Once you get past the main, like the main few hits are 90% of what you play, 95, and then everything after that is kind of, I don't want to say fluff. They're just like they're like the sprinkles on the frosting on the cake. It's like they're just little added texture. So once you get up to there, you have all that basics down. Then you look at different pros and they all have their different preferences. So there are different techniques that different people like. And so I've been shown a whole bunch, but I have my own tendencies, what I prefer to play. and I don't always remember them. I don't always play them all. So sometimes, I'll take a workshop with somebody and learn something new, and I might want to sit and play that thing or clean it up, like something like this, which, I don't use rizzes all that much. I could make that tighter. I could work on accents there and just really, really work on the sound. Or some days my pops are funky. So that's a big part of what I do when I practice, is a whole lot of technique and cleaning. Checking my hands, make sure on this side, this pinky, historically, like if you don't give every finger a job, it will find something to do. It will assign itself a job. So if I don't, I didn't know I was doing this for the longest time, but I was subconsciously trying to keep my pinky out of the way and just focusing on these three. And then a teacher noticed that it was just like not doing me any favors, and it just doesn't look good when you play, and anything that's happening outside of your normal shaped, like comfortable hand. If you have like an outlier or anything just doing something weird or claw-like, it adds tension here and back here. The tension can come all the way up. So you want to find little things like that and iron them out. So I'm always, when I'm not in front of a camera, I'll be practicing in front of a mirror so I can actually see like, am I doing something weird? Am I not hitting the mark? Am I not getting a clear note? So that's a lot of how I practice. Now, back in the earlier days, I spent more time on rhythms. And, if I'm working on a piece that has a funky one that I don't play a whole lot and it's not really in my hands, then I'll sit and practice that one at length. But this... Oh, it's getting late. I actually have to be somewhere. So thank you for joining me today. Unknown audience, I love you all. I'm sure friends and family and students. But if you have any questions, any subject matter, anything you'd like to see me practice in my next practice, let me know. And my goal is to continue doing this and see how long I can keep it up. So for a person who's not very structured, that is a really big goal. But if it inspires you to practice a little more at whatever you're working on, if this ends up being a mutual co-working session, then by all means, and please let me know if you decide to do that. Okay, all right, signing off. So I have to come up with catchy outro phrase or something. In the meantime, enjoy your day, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye.